Hello, welcome to Science Lesson 5. What are the stages of the water cycle? Pause the screen and get something to write with and write on. Okay, let's begin. So we're going to start with our knowing more, remembering more. The first question is, evaporation is when a liquid freezes and turns into ice. Is that true or false? Evaporation is when a liquid freezes and turns into ice. Is that true or false? Pause the screen. Next question. Glass, when heated, becomes which state? Is it solid, gas, or liquid? Glass, when heated, becomes which state? Is it solid, gas, or liquid? Pause the screen. Next question. At what temperature does water boil? At what temperature does water boil? Write that down. Pause the screen. And the final question, how are sounds made? How are sounds made? Pause the screen. Right, let's see how you did. So, evaporation is when a liquid freezes and turns into an ice is false. Glass, when heated, becomes which state? And the answer is liquid. Remember, we watched a video last week of glass being melted. At what temperature does water boil? And the answer is 100 degrees. And how are sounds made? And the answer is through vibrations. How did you do? So your success criteria for this lesson is I can define the term condensation. I can draw a labeled diagram of the water cycle. And I can explain that water is never lost, it just changes state. So we have our keywords, my turn, your turn, please join in. Evaporation, evaporation, good. Condensation, condensation, well done. And precipitation, precipitation, well done guys. So, changes of state. Which of the 4 changes of state have we not yet covered? Which of the 4 changes of state have we not yet covered? We've covered melt, boil, freeze. Which one is missing? Pause the screen. Okay, we're actually missing condense, aren't we? Well done if you knew that. So, what is going on in this picture? Pause the screen and see if you can discuss it. Okay, so in this picture, water vapor in the air is condensing into a liquid on the window. So there you can see the water vapor from the steam, and you can see that the water vapor is condensing into a liquid on the window, and someone's drawn a picture. But why is this? The window is cold. So when the water vapor has contact with the window, it cools down and changes state from a gas to a liquid. Let's watch a video to see this in action.
Okay, so for our experiment today, we're going to make it rain, right? And for this experiment, we need a glass jar. We have that. A plate, we're heating up some water right now and some ice, and we're going to show you how to make it rain. So I'm heating up some water so it's steaming hot, and then we're going to pour it in that jar. Okay, don't put it on yet. And then we're going to put the plate on top of the jar and then ice on the plate and watch it rain. So I'll come back as soon as our water's ready. Yeah, so we have steaming hot water here. I just microwaved it for about 1:45, and I'm going to fill the jar up about 1/3 of the way. That is really hot. Yeah, about there. Okay, put the plate on top. Can you put the plate up here? We're going to wait just 1 second. No, wait 1 second. Okay. We're supposed to let it sit for just a second. It's already starting to condense. That's okay. Okay, go ahead and put ice on there. What we should see
rain.
Is we're going to see some water droplets form on the side. And that is basically how rain works. Warm air moves up, gets cooler temperatures, and then condenses and comes back down as rain. See any water forming? We want to see if there's some stuff comes down. Oh, I just saw one. Oh, there goes another one. Yep, it's raining in there, Torrin. Look, see the water droplets coming down? We made it rain.
Condensation is the change of state from a gas to a liquid when a gas is cooled. Pick one of the images below and try to explain why you can see condensation. So have a look at each of the images, pick one and try to explain why you can see condensation. Pause the screen. Right, how did you do? So this is an activity that you are going to do in your books. Now that we have learned about all the changes of state, it's time to make some notes in your books. Using the word bank below, label the boxes for each state of matter and the arrows for the change of state. So you have the following words below: liquid, solid, gas, condense, melt, freeze, and boil. So what I would do is I would have a look at this image. What is this? Is it a liquid, a solid, or a gas? Then label it. The same one with this one. Is it a liquid, a solid, or a gas? Label it. And then this one. Once you've done that, the words that you should have left are condense, melt, freeze, and boil. So you would then need to show the changes of state. So from solid to liquid, what change of state is that? Is it condense, melt, freeze, or boil? Pause the screen and have a go at this in your books. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. This is a solid, then you have a liquid and a gas. From solid to liquid, you would have melting. The change of state would be melting. So the solid melts to become a liquid. From liquid to gas, the liquid boils to become a gas. From gas to liquid, the gas condenses. And from liquid to solid, the liquid would be frozen. So it has to freeze. How did you do? So we can now tick off our first success criteria, which is I can define the term condensation. So give yourself a tick. So the water cycle, changes of state are vital parts of the water cycle. Let's watch a video to see what happens during the water cycle.
Over 2/3 of the Earth is covered in water. Water is vital to support all life on the planet. Water never leaves the Earth and its atmosphere. It simply moves around in what is called the water cycle. The water cycle is a continuous journey of water, from oceans and lakes to clouds to rain to streams to rivers and back into the ocean again. When the sun shines, it causes water to warm up, turning it into a gas, water vapor. This process is called evaporation. The water vapor rises and collects in the sky as clouds. When the water vapor cools down, it condenses, turning back into liquid, and falls back to Earth as precipitation, rain, snow, hail, or sleet. This water then moves across land as runoff and ends up in rivers and streams. It then flows back to the sea or lakes, and the cycle starts again. Water moves continuously around this cycle. The water we use today has been around for as long as the Earth. So next time you take a drink of water, remember, it's the same water the dinosaurs drank.
So as you can see, the water cycle, if we begin with the lake or the sea, the water vapors are evaporated and then they collect in clouds, and then you have condensation or precipitation, where the water can run off into rivers and streams and join the ocean again. So when water evaporates, a molecule of water spends about 10 days in the air. As water vapor rises higher in the atmosphere, it begins to cool back down. When it is cool enough, the water condenses and returns to liquid water. The water droplets eventually gather to form clouds and precipitation. Now you're going to have a go at drawing the water cycle. So from the description below, you need to draw your own version of the water cycle, ensuring you label the keywords indicated in red. So in your diagram, you need to include the word evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Evaporation is where the sun heats up water on land in rivers, lakes, and seas and turns it into water vapor. The water vapor then rises into the air. Condensation is when water vapor in the air cools down and changes back into tiny drops of liquid water, forming clouds. Precipitation is where the clouds get heavy and water falls back to the ground in the form of rain or snow. Water returns to the sea. When rainwater runs over the land and collects in lakes or rivers, it takes it back to the sea. The cycle starts all over again. So keywords you need to have in your water cycle are water vapor, evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. You are going to pause the screen now and have a go at drawing your water cycle. Remember to include your keywords: evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and water returns to the sea. So now you can tick your second success criteria. I can draw a label diagram of the water cycle. Is this statement correct? When water evaporates, it just disappears into the Earth's atmosphere. Pause the screen and see what you think. Let's have a look. The statement was actually incorrect. Water is still there as water vapor. We just can't see it. How about this statement? Once water has evaporated into water vapor, it cannot change back into water. Once water has evaporated into water vapor, it cannot change back into water. Is this statement correct? Pause the screen. No, it's incorrect. In fact, the change is reversible and happens over and over again in the water cycle. How about this statement? New water is constantly being made on the earth. New water is constantly being made on the earth. Pause the screen and have a think. Again, this is incorrect. All the water on the earth was here when the earth first began. It's just constantly cycled, okay? Therefore, you are drinking the same water that dinosaurs drank. How about that? How is this possible? As you can see, in the water cycle, water is not gained or lost, it just changes state. How fantastic is that? So now we can tick our final success criteria, which is I can explain that water is never lost, it just changes state. So now what I would like you to do is go over to your purple mash and complete your Science 2 quiz for lesson 5, okay? Well done, guys, and I'll see you next week for lesson 6. Bye.